Hey there, Becca here from Inside the Square. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to use just a little bit of custom CSS to add some text behind the content of an index page in your Brine Squarespace website. Again, this is specific for index pages on Brine Squarespace templates, okay? So the codes I'm using today are listed in the description below, but we're gonna hop into my demo site here and I'll show you exactly how to add the code and how to adjust it for tablet, mobile, and individual index pages, okay? Let's hop in my demo site and get started here. So here we are in my demo site. You'll see I have a first index page with some text and a picture behind it, a second one, and then a third one that details some of the other things we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So what we're adding today is custom CSS, and I'm going to hop over here to design and scroll down to custom CSS. Now this is going to install my code site-wide, but I will show you how to install it on a single index page as well, okay? So let's just get started here with the whole concept of the code so I can break it down for you. We're going to type a period and a capital I for index-page. And then I'm going to add the little colon symbol and type the word before and open up a bracket. What we're basically telling the browser is I'm going to give you some stuff right here that I want you to display before the index page content itself. That is going to create that background text, okay? So let's just add the content. Let's call this quotation marks here. We're going to say tutorial. There we go. And now it says tutorial, but you'll notice it's kind of shifted some other stuff around the page. We need to fix that. We need to make sure this content is separate from the actual stuff that's on the page. I'm trying not to say content too much. So I'm going to add a semicolon here, and we're going to say position absolute. Now check it out. Our content went back to where it was. So now what we've done is put the word behind the content. So to make sure it stays there, we're also going to say Z index 0, because we want to make sure it's the last layer there just above the image, but behind everything else. Let's go ahead and adjust this font size as well. I'm going to say font size, say 300 px. Okay, so now the word's huge and it's being cut off. So let's add one more. I'm going to say top 60%. There we go. Now I've scooted it down a bit. It's pretty dark. It's a solid color black there. So let's change the opacity to 0.5, if you will. Cool. Now we can see a little bit of the image behind it, but also the text on top of it. So let's scroll down here. We also have this text here, the word tutorial behind it, but it's still on top of the image. And in our third section, same option there. So again, I played around with the opacity. You can make that 0.3 if you want it really light. Adjust the size of the font if you want it to be gigantic at 400 or slightly smaller at 200, whatever you're comfortable with. And then this part right here, I wrote top 60%. That scoots it down 60% of the way down the height of that section. So while that's great, check this out. When we take a look at the tablet view, it definitely looks different. Mobile view, way different, gets completely cut off. So we need to adjust some of those sizes for tablet and mobile as well. So let's start off with mobile here. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a media query. So we're gonna tell the browser only apply this code when the screen is this size. We're gonna say at media only screen and parentheses max width 640 px. That's the size I like to use for phones. It's a common breakpoint for phones. You can adjust that to whatever you want to, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to stick with 640 for this tutorial, okay? We're going to open up a bracket, and using the same name from the beginning, index page before, I'm going to place that right there, open another bracket, and say font size 150 px. And that still wasn't small enough. Let's go down to 50 px. There we go. You see the word tutorial is shrinking for us? All right, let's make it 100. I'm trying to play around with that there. All right, now it's about the width of the mobile device. It's what I'm comfortable with there. That's the right size. But if we go back to desktop, desktop stays the same. Now tablet is also a little different. Let's take a look at the tablet view. We can adjust that separately as well. You've got at media only screen, and we'll say max width 940 px. Again, that's the breakpoint that I like to use. This one specifically for tablet. You can adjust that to what you're comfortable with. But we're going to add and min width 640 px. Okay? Now I'm just going to copy this text we had before because we're basically using the same thing. But instead of 100, we'll make it maybe 150 there if that's what we're comfortable with. So what we're saying here is on desktop, display it at this font size. Here are all the settings we're going with. It's going to be behind other stuff. It's going to be this level opacity, blah, blah, blah. But when you get down to a tablet size, less to 940 in width or greater than 640 in width, adjust that font size down to 150. And for mobile, anything that is up to 640 pixels in width, adjust that font size down to 100. So again, we can make any changes we want here. If we want that to be 50, or let's say we want the top to only be 20% instead of 60, we can make those adjustments to the individual devices using those media queries. Following so far? I know that was a lot. Let's do a quick recap here, okay? So what we've done is we've said place this content, the text in the quotation marks, before the content on the page. We set the position to absolute, which means it'll be behind the text, but in front of the image for that index page. And we've also adjusted the amount of height for the top of it if we want to scoot it further down. And then we've added the font size, played around with the opacity. Oh, and we also threw in that Z index to make sure it stays at the right layer. Okay? Again, that code is in the description below. You can just copy and paste it in your site and you're good to go. Alrighty? So after that, we added the media query to adjust the size on mobile and adjust the size on tablet. But we're not done yet. There are 2 more things I want to show you. The next is how to change that word for each section, and then how to install it on just one index page in your site, just in case you have multiple index pages going on. Okay? All right, let's hop back in this demo site, shall we? So back here in the demo site, I'm going to go back to my desktop version. We're still in the custom CSS panel. Let's say I just want this to show up in the second section of my site, okay? Before the word before, I'm going to add another colon symbol, and I'm going to say nth child 2, parentheses, and then one more colon symbol. So now it says index page nth child 2 before. And if we scroll down here, you'll see it says tutorial there, but not in the third and not in the first. What if we want this in the first section? Change that to a 1. And check it out. It's there in the first, not in the second, not in the third. Actually, let's make it the third, add it there, and now it'll be in the last section, but not the second, not the first. You get the idea. All we did was add nth child 3 before the word before. Now I want you to notice we just added this to the first part of the code here. The second, the mobile code and the tablet code, those are just adjusting the size, so you don't have to add that to another space, okay? So if we click down here, let's check out the tablet version and scroll down. It's showing up in just the third section on just the tablet. So you get the idea. Awesome. Alrighty, now let's say you have more than one index page on your site. In this example, I have a second index page here. Let's go ahead and load that. There we go. This is our second index page. And you'll see here, I've got 3 sections and the text is showing up there as well. What if I just want it on one index page, not multiple index pages on my site? I'm going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to press Control X on my keyboard here and save. So I'm just going to cut that text right out of my custom CSS, and we're going to hop to our Pages menu. Back here in our main menu, you'll see I have my first index section here and my second index here. Now if I click on my first index, I'll see this little gear icon right here in the top corner. That's what I want. I'll select that and I'll select Advanced. What we're going to do is put that code we just copied out of our custom CSS section there, and we're going to paste it right here in our page header code injection. But here's a little pro tip for you, a little cool nuance about this that you should know. In your page header, you can have different kinds of code. It's not like our custom CSS panel where it's just CSS. In your page header, you can do all kinds of things. So I have to tell the browser this is a style code. So I'm going to say style, and then paste the whole shebang, select save, and let the website reload, and check it out. It says tutorial in that third section, just like it did when we were messing around with it before. But if we scroll up and check out our second index page, it's nowhere to be found. Awesome, right? So again, that was that gear icon right next to it. Advanced, just make sure you tuck it between the word style and then /style at the end of it, so the browser knows you're about to give it a style code. Well, that was a lot of information, wasn't it? Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of this tutorial. I hope you learned something awesome. Now, the steps we went over, although they were slightly complicated, I've outlined them for you in the description below, along with the code that I used in this specific tutorial. Just make sure to adjust the opacity, the color, the font family, the text, all the fun things you can with CSS to make it look perfect for your own website. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something awesome. And most importantly, have fun with your Squarespace website. Bye for now. If you like this tutorial, you'll love my CSS cheat sheet. With over 30 pages of pro tips and code snippets specific for Squarespace, you can customize your site way beyond your design menu. Download your copy today at insidethesquare.co/CSS. That's insidethesquare.co/CSS.